Here we are back with another one. Taco lasagna. I'd rate this one pretty high compared to the rest of the recipes I've had because I just loved it. Get your pans heating up in the meantime. And then what I like to do is start cutting up the vegetables and your garlic, your onion, anything you might cook in the pan first. And you usually want to do that before your meat. So in this case, we're just going to be cooking up some peppers and onions beforehand, as well as some garlic with our beef. Say about 4 peppers might be good if you're doing about 4 or 5 pounds of meat. It's always nice to have somewhere to store on the side so you have more space on your cutting board. I think a nice julienne on your onion will do the trick for this recipe. Been trying to come up with easier ways to cut your garlic. As always, you can just smash to get the individual pieces, and then smash each little individual piece by itself. And lately I've been trying to cut the end just so you can peel the skin off easier. And then you want to get your peppers and onions you just cut cooking. And here's something else you can do in the meantime while that's cooking. You can get out the can opener and get some cans of bean open. And this recipe is going to have some corn as well. Beautiful. 2 cans of beans, 2 cans of corn. After your onion and peppers are done cooking, put them off to the side. We're going to start cooking up our meat. Try to get some meat from the local butcher if you can. It's always better than getting it from the store.
Oh.
And if it's pricey, make sure none of it goes to waste. And if you don't have a big enough pan, you're going to have to use multiple pans to cook the meat. And then while that's cooking, you can be cutting more stuff. So I got some cherry tomatoes here to cut up. Be careful because sometimes they like to squirt everywhere. And you don't need to be perfect. Just trying to cut them into smaller pieces. This is a bag of red onion I had sitting in the fridge because I pickled some of it earlier and had too much left over, so I thought I'd save it. And lo and behold, I found a recipe I could use it for instead of throwing it away. And I julienned it, and I just decided to chop it up a little bit smaller to match the tomatoes in size. And then I got some cilantro here. Usually you find this a lot of Mexican recipes. There's no good way to chop it up nicely, so I'd say just bunch up as much as you can, compact it, chop, 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 re-bunch it up, chop it. Just do your best. Doesn't need to be perfect. And I had some limes I figured I'd add as well. And I think what I did is I just left them in each tray and squeezed it over the top of the lasagna later on when I was ready to eat the meal. This is the garlic we cut up earlier. We're adding it to our beef. Probably flipped our beef once or twice. It's almost done. That's when we decided to add the garlic. Now we're adding some seasoning, some pepper, some salt. Getting the oven going now that the meat's almost done because we're going to be baking. I like to butter my pans instead of using any cooking spray, because of all the chemicals and stuff. And the butter's not that bad. You want to rinse your beans off. It's not the worst idea. Just throw them in a strainer, throw some water over them. Get off some of that preservatives that kept them in the can. And it's time to make our taco seasoning. You can, pick up a packet of taco seasoning yourself to add your meat, or you can make your own with some flour, some cumin, some chili powder. And, like a tablespoon or two, like 2 or 3 pounds, usually pretty good. It all just depends on you. Seasoning is another thing where you can follow the recipe exactly, but I don't think it matters as much. Just add as much seasoning as you want that you feel is best. And then, make sure to give it a good mix around. Then we're adding those beans in. We're going to have some salsa. Once again, pick whatever salsa you think would be best. The best part of cooking is you can change a little ingredient here or two to make it better for you. Make sure that you give a good mix as well. And the meat should be just about done at this point. We're going to start filling our trays. I'm going to start with the bottom layer of meat. And then for our layers, we use taco shells. Brilliant. The only problem I had with this recipe is the size of the baking tray and how much meat you're making. I felt like I didn't have enough meat. I felt like my trays weren't thick enough to make the lasagna nicely. So you kind of gotta have to plan this a little bit beforehand, how much meat you're gonna make, and then how much you want to layer everything. I think my 2 trays here actually worked out pretty decently. Try to make sure you keep everything balanced between the two, because I think one of my trays here had better proportions than you can see. We threw some corn on. We threw that peppers and onions we cooked earlier on top of the taco shells. Then we had some cheese. We got cheddar cheese. We got pepper jack cheese. Oh, it's a lot of cheese, but this is a good meal, especially for wintertime. The only thing I would have liked to do better is spread out the meat better. So you should have a bottom layer of meat, your taco shells, that next layer, no more taco shells, then some more meat. And hopefully, remember, you have that pepper and onion left over. Hopefully you didn't use it on the first layer, because we're going to use it again on this layer, along with more cheese. I believe I used all the corn before, but you should also save some corn for this layer as well. Because what makes a great lasagna is the layers. But when you have so many ingredients like this one, and our trays are stuffed to the max, I don't think you have to worry too much. Put your oven to 400 degrees, get your trays in there for 50 minutes, and when you pull them out, they should look like this golden, beautiful lasagna. Look at that, so cheesy. Looking at this makes me want to make it again. Yeah, look at this, just cutting it so thick, so perfect. Just imagine if you could go somewhere and get lasagna by the slice. That'd be awesome. Different variations like this taco one. Who doesn't love lasagna? And what I did here was, I thought it'd be easiest just to cut it into nice portions, 6 there, and just scoop it up and keep it together and add it to my trays. And I usually have about 10 trays, so I probably did the same for the other tray of lasagna I had. And whatever was left over, just cut in smaller portions to fit as many trays as you can. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's another part of the balancing act of making sure each tray gets about the same amount of lasagna. And here is our last finishing touch. We're going to add those tomatoes, red onion we cut up earlier, the cilantro, and the lime. Just adds that extra sweet touch to this recipe. You can decide if it's necessary or not. I mean, you could probably even add a little sour cream if you wanted. It's something to have, something a little bit juicy, moist, add to your lasagna. If maybe you cooked your meat or your lasagna too long, it's a little dry, this will just help keep it moist, keep it nice and tasty for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this recipe as much as I did. Let me know if you have any other great recipes that you can cook up for the whole week. Thanks for watching, everybody, and as always, don't forget to clean all your dishes. If you can manage to clean as you go, it's not so painful dealing with the mess. Hope you enjoy this recipe. I sure did.